Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Telling Tales. We run atmospheric role-playing games here on Twitch for you, and that's exactly what we'll be doing tonight. My name is Matt. I'm your game master, and we'll be running, as we do every Tuesday, some Blades in the Dark. So, before I go any further, as is traditional around these parts, let's bring on our stream manager, Steve, who's tinkering away in the background. Images, cams, rules, questions, chat, all that good stuff. Hi, Steve. How are you doing?
Hi, Matt. Yeah, pretty good, thanks.
Good. Steve will probably have to take on just a little bit extra reliable tonight because I am. I woke up an hour ago, folks, so that's where we're at. But I'm sure he's up to the task. Probably you can step in and just GM for a while, right? If I need a doze or
give it a try.
Yeah,
might be quite a different game, but you know.
Absolutely. If Steve pops up again, don't worry. It just means something's gone horribly wrong. So let me get on with the wonderful Telling Tales promo before we start bringing on the players. We have a bunch of links down below. There are links to Twitch and YouTube. You're watching on one. Why not check out the other? Our YouTube is full of lots and lots and lots of VODs, hundreds at this point, from the games we've been playing over the last year or so. So if you're watching on Twitch, that's a good point to go and get started with other series and the like. We also have links down below to our social media, to our Discord, where you can join up and talk to us about all things Telling Tales, all things role-playing in general, and a link to our Patreon, where if you want, you can support us for extra treats like character creation videos and GM notes and access to the patron-only areas of our Discord. Yeah, lots of lovely stuff. We currently run 3 weekly shows. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings, all at 8 o'clock in the evening BST, which is 3 o'clock in the afternoon EST, and other times around the world. Mondays is Call of Cthulhu with Johnny, and Tuesdays is Blades in the Dark with me, and tomorrow, Wednesday, is Simbaroom, also with me. We also run monthly one-shots on the first Saturday of every month. He says, aware that the next one to promo is not a first Saturday of the month. But we've had a bunch of those through the year. One Ring, Honey Heist, Expanse, Fiasco, others, Alien, others. They're all good. And they're in VOD form over on YouTube. The next one should be scheduled on Saturday, September 11th. And that will actually be one of our players here, Pierre, running Dungeon World, or at least kind of co-running it, because it's kind of a collaborative thing with the players. So that should be good times had by all. That's all the promo. So let's start bringing on the players. We had some guest stars for the last couple of weeks. So we'll bring on the 2 players who were in the last score. And we'll introduce them, we'll talk about the score, and then we'll bring in the couple of players who've kind of been not completely absent, but weren't in the last score, and they'll talk a bit about their downtime, and then we'll get on with a new thing. Yeah, sounds good, right? So first off, let's bring on Sam. Sam plays Silver, the slide of the Keepers, kind of manipulator, con lady, deceiver, owner of fine draperies. You were in a bit of a situation when we picked up last week. Why don't you tell us where you were and what you were doing and how that went?
We just managed to kind of get inside this quite heavily guarded, very heavily guarded compound in our trusty little carriage that we have as part of the Keeper's kind of possessions. That was Silver and Bricks. And we kind of reached a point where we were all just about in position to start trying to place these bombs, more or less, in the places we've been told to. So I think first Silver went and tried to with her blue cloak and tried to kind of just walk right in there, acting like she belonged, and it didn't go that smoothly. She nearly got caught out by a kind of a sergeant that was patrolling the rifles. That managed to just about convince her that she was supposed to be here and had some delivery from Night Market, and managed to get in position. Bricks kind of just walked over and forcefully told everyone to get out of his way, which worked extremely well, I think. a very bricks maneuver there, if ever I've seen one. And then Oriel and Rook, they kind of had managed to convince the guards near the cannons that they were part of Skurlock munitions. And the guards, for the most part, were kind of a bit fearful, didn't want to get too involved. And so I think they more or less let them get away with hanging around these cannons. The only thing we really had to figure out was how we were going to time these explosions, which we eventually did with a flashback that we would set them all off at the strike of a clock.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, because obviously everything went flawless from that point, let's bring on our second player, John, who plays Bricks, the cutter of the keepers. He's a big lad, big muscly lad, fond of snapping necks. Yeah,
Well,
how'd it go?
I mean, everything went as well as a massive explosion could go. The signal went. We all kicked or hit or otherwise thwacked our respective satchels, and then ran for it. Silver ran for the carriage, and just drove those goats out as fast as she could. Ariel and Brooke, I
Rook,
remembered,
yeah. There are two guest stars, Oriel and Rook.
snuck back out the way they'd come, and Bricks took out a sledgehammer and battered down one of the walls, because that's how Bricks rolls.
Whoa. It wasn't. Just stop making yourself even cooler than you were. It wasn't a wall, it was a barricade.
It was a
I'm
barricade.
sure Bricks could have battered down a wall. But...
Probably. Figuring that, it was going to get destroyed anyway, as we were about to blow it up. And the satchels went off. There was a huge green, noxious
kind of greenish
explosion,
hinged flame. Yeah.
mushroom clouds, and people running around on fire, presumably an amount of Wilhelm screams. Bricks got some splinters in the back of the head, which was unpleasant, and he just paused briefly as he was running away and threw one last look over his shoulder and saw the very creepy, slightly out of time owner of Skurlock Munitions walk out of the fire and look at him. And then he kept running.
Out of the fire, unscathed by
Yes.
it, Lord Skurlock. Which I'm sure nothing will come of that particular thing.
Of course not.
He definitely won't become any kind of antagonist or factor in things. So, yeah, that was the last score. And then we had a bunch of downtime. And let's bring on... I don't think they can, nor should they, cover everything to do with everyone's downtime. But they can talk a little bit about what they did, at least, and if there was anything of real significance in the last downtime. Let's bring on our third player, Justin, who plays 3 sheets. So he has to come on third, because 3's in his name. Who plays the Keeper's Hunter, i.e. their tracker and sheepsman and hound, fond of extremely hard drugs.
That's basically how I spent my downtime.
Absolutely.
Rolling around on the opium den floor of my
Red Lantern?
Red Lantern, Red
Lantern, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's become a common thing recently because a lot of stress has been spent over the last few scores. So, yeah, there's been a lot of the old vices in the downtime to get rid of that. But, hey, that's Blades in the Dark. And also me, probably charging more stress than I should. So, let's bring on our final player. Let's bring on Pierre, who plays Echo, our thoroughly traumatized lurk, thief, sneaks person, fond of horrible demonic mouths in her neck that whisper uncomfortable truths. Hi, Pierre.
At least they tell the truth. That's the thing about the demonic mouths. Unlike the scum and villainy that exist within Duskfall. Yeah, I kind of, having had a bit of a traumatic time, I wanted to face my fear, and I trained a little by climbing the lair that we have, our trusty lighthouse. Having done that, I tried to start work on maybe winning back my friend in the blue cloaks Dharma, but I didn't know that we were about to be exploding their munitions depot / training ground just
So that
shortly
project
later.
that project is quite a challenging one now. That's
It's a little tricky.
because Dharma wanted to stay loyal to the blue cloaks. What is it with that? What is it with that? And so that's quite a challenging project now. So off the back of that as well, we had a couple of level ups for the keepers in general. And you know what? John is the person who maintains that sheet. So why doesn't John explain what points have been spent where, with the caveat that because we got confused before this stream started, there may still be one. I think there's still 1 point to spend. But yeah, John, why don't you let us know?
Yeah, so we ended up, because we hadn't done XP in a while, that we had 2 full trackers worth to spend, and we decided to get the Smuggler's Only upgrade of Steady, so everyone gets an extra stress box. Annoyingly, isn't marked in our character sheets, but we can remember it, hopefully. That cost 3 upgrade points, so yeah, we still have 1 point to spend. We hadn't entirely decided.
Sure. Is there anything anyone wants to very quickly suggest and see if the group as a whole wants to take it? I don't want to discuss it too much because then we go into kind of like admin mode, which probably isn't that entertaining to watch. Is there anything anyone wants to just throw in the ring?
I was going to suggest insight or resolve training to make it better, so that we get more XP when we train insight or resolve. Given that we've already got the one that I really like, which is prowess.
I think that's a pretty solid choice if people do want to take it. What do we think?
I'm up for entertaining more ideas maybe later.
Okay.
And having a longer think about it.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Let's do that then. Let's put that on the back burner, and by next session we'll wheel out whatever upgrade we have in place. So there were a number, folks, of different jobs offered to them in the wake of the explosions at the Blue Cloak encampment. But one of the most urgent seeming of them was something that's been out there for sort of some time, but seems to be reaching a kind of a level of urgency where it maybe needs attention, and that's what we're focusing on tonight. So I hope everyone out there can remember the contact Dalmor, who these mangy curs did a job for in 6 Towers, wrecking and burning up a grey cloak haven. And that was intended as a kind of proving thing, right? Like a proving mission. Off the back of which Dalmor seemed uncertain about whether he wanted to give you this apparently very well-paying, very hush-hush mission that he'd put recruitment out there for, which was the reason you kind of came to him in the first place, or more or less why you came to him in the first place. And essentially, off the back of that reluctance, he then started sending you letters to your lair with an increasing sense of stridency and urgency, suggesting that, yes, he'd be happy to take you on for this mission, and really, could you make yourselves available for it very much right now, please? So off the back of that, and also off the back of the fact that after a demonic encounter that Brix had a couple of weeks ago, the crew as a whole, minus the one individual saying they should definitely work for a demon, which I'm not going to identify who that might be. Yeah, I think the sense is that as part of the payment, you will ask Dalmor, who you assume has some kind of perhaps occult or powerful contacts, might be able to try and get this demon off your back. Yeah, that's about it, right? That's kind of the summary of the matter, I believe. I'm not going to say how do you get in contact with Dom or anything like that. We're going to do this similar to how we've done the other ones, but with one very important difference. After you sent a message back, presumably through Nirix, who is Silver's friend who works at the Red Lantern brothel, instead of receiving an invitation to go see Dalmor at the Red Lantern, instead, the very next evening, there is a insistent and steady banging on the door of your lighthouse in Silkshore. Let's say that Silver is currently the closest. You're the closest to the door. I don't know why you're downstairs. Maybe you're figuring out where to
Put the drapes.
Things. Yes, but
Yep.
either way, Silver, that is where you are.
Plausible. Is there any way? I'm assuming this is Dalmor, but I think Silver would try to find some way to look to see who it is before opening the door.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly reasonable. Maybe there's like a murder hole or something that's
Yeah.
the
Makes
keepers
sense.
have near the door.
A window, perhaps.
Or a window, indeed, or yeah.
Even just a hole in the door.
Yeah, even just like there's cracks in the wood of the door that you can peer through because this is a wrecked, shitty, crappy lighthouse.
And they can just see you, like,
Yeah,
deciding whether to let them in.
Well, maybe you keep that downstairs room dark on purpose so that people can't see you peering through into the relative light of outside. Either way, Silver, you choose how you look out there, and you see Dalmor standing there with a kind of nervous aspect to him, kind of looking around. Clearly, this is a rough area of Silkshore out here by the edges of it near the lightning barriers, and in the kind of flashes of that as occasional lightning flares across between the huge pillars. You see he's dressed in his usual kind of very luxurious manner, with that cane he has with like the lantern mounted on top of it. Hair, as usual, kind of long, curled, oiled. And you see kind of the reflection of his eyes in the flashes of the lightning and that odd kind of how he has those translucent irises to his eyes, no color in them at all. Yeah.
Okay. I think Silver will just kind of straighten herself out, straighten out clothes, and then open the door. Dalmor, good evening. What a pleasure to see you out here. We were hoping to be in touch. You didn't have to come all this way. We would have, of course, come to meet you at your convenience.
Oh, I'm sure. May I step inside?
Of course. I think the rest of the crew are just upstairs. We can go and
Sure.
go and see them immediately.
Are you kind of saying this loudly enough that the others will hear?
Yeah, definitely.
'Cause I don't know about you guys, but I kind of imagine the interior of the lighthouse. Not that it's hollow, but that it's empty enough that things echo basically most of the way up between the top and the bottom of it. Because, it's just a wrecked tube of stone.
Silver, who was it? Who calls on us at this hour?
I kind of imagine that we're like halfway through a game of cards or something else.
Sure, yeah.
Get back up here. I've got money riding on this.
Echo, calm down. It's just Mr. Dalmor. He's come to see us about the job he has.
I look at the other guys and I sort of...
Well, you got lucky this time, Echo.
You can always fold.
We keep the cards as they are. I want to see everyone lay them down.
Yeah. Well,
How about
go on.
how about we have it so that sorry, you absolutely revisit this. I just want to say stuff while it's in my head. Shall we have it so that the steps in the lighthouse, they kind of move around in a spiral all around the outside?
Clearly.
So there's plenty of time to kind of like Silver and Dalmor are kind of like trudging upstairs for you to even play out the last hand, perhaps.
Yeah. And what I mean, I'm not remembering this correctly. That my ferret's name is like Marcus. Did we agree that was what it was?
I think you did say it was
Something like
Marcus.
that.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that.
So like I imagine like Marcus like skitters between the beams, like to kind of get an eye on the on what's going on,
Sure.
like a little kind of playground for a ferret to kind of jump
Yeah.
from beam to beam of these dusty, creaky beams.
And shall we say as well that you're like you four are the only ones in the lighthouse. Your little crew of rovers is perhaps just by the shoreline, maybe offloading some slightly profitable, nefarious cargo that they've managed to get their hands on. And as the trudge up the stairs happens, Silver, were you playing this game?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Well then. I'm going to roll some dice to see my. And given the confidence of Echo, you know what? I'm going to add a +1 to Echo's result.
Ridiculous. Cheating.
I've got quite a good finesse score, so cards up my sleeve.
But surely a terrible poker face.
Oh, absolutely. We all use the advantage.
Just constantly, yes.
These suckers don't know what I'm getting out of them.
Well, as you lay down the cards, is someone flipping Silver's cards or?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I'm
it seems to me
eager
that
to see
keepers
the...
wouldn't wait to like...
Yeah, no.
So, and Echo, do you want to be the one kind of doing it? Echo, Bricks. Let's go round in a certain order here. So, Bricks, you lay down your cards. One single star, not a terrible hand, possibly the worst hand you could get. Echo, you reach over, flip over Silver's cards eagerly to reveal another single star.
I knew it. She was bluffing.
And then Echo, you lay down yours. It could be enough. 2 stars, barely an improvement, but still,
raking in the money in the middle.
And then another set of cards hit the middle of the table, flipped casually from the fingers of 3 sheets. 5 sides.
You mother! Oh my god! Oh.
That's 2 coins you owe me now, Echo.
Oh.
So as Echo is wailing and bemoaning her mischance here, Silver and Dalmor arrive in the room. Dalmor kind of walking over to kind of like between you all to kind of address you, just kind of leaning his cane on the table slightly. He looks up and around and says, yes, well, I'm not afraid to get my hands a little bit dirty. So, yes, of course, I appreciate that you, as Silver had said, you could have come seen me at the Red Lantern, but this is a matter of a little bit more delicacy. And I hope you don't mind me taking this opportunity to visit you in your rather poetic little haven here and pass on the information.
Would it be a smart idea to maybe slowly push out Silver's now empty chair for Dalmor to sit in around the table with a foot?
He kind of looks at it and says, "Oh no, thank you. Oh, Silver, please, you do sit. I do much prefer to stand, keep on my feet." Well then, I'm rather glad that this relationship we have cultivated has come to this point, and I have the utmost faith that you will be able to help my us. Yes. There is a book which needs to be claimed, not returned precisely, but certainly it needs to be in the possession of people who know what to do with it and are able to take full advantage of the contents. It is currently in the possession of a group of competent but misdirected thieves. They make their home in Silkshore, like yourselves. I can give you the address of where they are, or at least where they make their home, and presumably where they stash their goods. They are known as the Wraiths.
I believe we've run across them before, perhaps, but certainly nothing we can't handle.
A working relationship, an antagonistic one?
Ships in the night.
Well, perhaps you'll be better able to recognize them then, should there be any form of confusion. I'm sorry that this is most of the information I can grant you regarding how to go about this. We do not care how you recover the book. Stealth, violence, deception, negotiation, but it requires being done as soon as possible. Tonight. As discreetly as possible, no blue cloak involvements, and with no way whatsoever of tracing it back to myself.
Of course. Discretion is our specialty, as always.
Yes.
Could you provide us with the name of this book? We wouldn't want to pick up the wrong one.
Can you give me an action roll to persuade Dalmor, however you like, to give you more information on the book, please?
I would like to use Sway.
Yeah, that seems very appropriate. It's a controlled roll, so no,
Okay.
Just cuts you down on the spot.
I have 3 dice in Sway now.
Yeah.
So-
Are you going to any put? I'm not offering you a devil's bargain. Any pushing or helping that is going on, or are we just leaving this hanging?
I might assist you. I think it's really important that we know what this book's like. Don't pay us
Sure.
stress.
Cool.
Okay.
So that's a single stress for Echo, and go for it.
Okay. I got a 6 as my best result.
Fantastic. Dalmor sort of whips a very kind of frivolously lacy handkerchief out and kind of mops his brow, even though you can see from here in the swinging light of the lanterns overhead that his skin seems dry as a bone, and he says, "That is only fair, I suppose. It does not have a name as such, and I can't give you a huge amount of detail, but you will know it from being full of maps and cartographical notations. A logbook of sorts."
Very well. And I assume this is a book that the Wraiths themselves would recognize as important.
Yes. I doubt they have any other books in their possession as like this.
Very
They
well.
have been putting out feelers through fences throughout Doskvol for a buyer. However you wish to acquire it, that cannot happen.
Why don't you just buy it?
But as I believe I already said, it cannot be traced back to us. Any dealings leave breadcrumbs, as this will to a certain degree, but I trust on your discretion to sweep them up as well as possible. Yes.
Absolutely.
If you are unsuccessful, I should note that our working relationship will most definitely be over, gentlemen, ladies. And if the book is damaged or destroyed, my client, will be very displeased and potentially hold you responsible. While I cannot comment on the outcomes of this, I would advise against being in danger of this scenario.
How large is this book? A folio? A pocketbook?
Yes, a bit of folio or some such. Easily carryable and easily concealable.
Get you with your book knowledge.
Yeah, well, shut up, Briggs. Throws some of the cash that I've won at your face.
Perhaps Three Sheets had to maintain logbooks aboard the ships that he used to sail on, and has a bit of knowledge about binding.
We are smugglers. We trade things all the time. We know about merchandise. We know about all kinds of things.
Dalmor is kind of like picking up his cane and kind of looking about him again and blinking slightly in the light from the lanterns, and says, "Is there anything else, dear keepers?"
Where is the...
Oh, yes, of course. He offers you an address, which is in... let me get there. In fact, do you want to bring the map up, Steve? I'm not going to give you like the actual address because there's no point just randomly naming streets. But it's in Silkshore, but towards the kind of southwest of Silkshore there, very near Barrow Cleft. Barrow Cleft is somewhere we have not, in fact, been so far. And while it's not in Barrow Cleft, let's have a quick description. Barrow Cleft is the home to the labourers and overseers of the Ministry of Preservation, who attend the radiant energy farms of Duskfall, a dusty rural district with simple wooden buildings. So it's quite near there, but it is technically still in Silkshore, just on the side of that canal separating the two.
One further thing, and I realise it's very rude, but we're taking on quite a considerable risk here, and if anything goes wrong, there is dire consequence. So I suppose it is natural we might discuss coin as reward.
Oh, yes, of course. You will be compensated most admirably.
Okay.
Considerably, one might say, which factors in your silence.
Of course.
Your permanent silence.
As the grave.
What about non-coin-based payment? See, we have had another offer for a different job, and obviously we're here with you, but we wouldn't mind some assistance getting the other fella off our backs for at least a bit.
What kind of individual could possibly cow the keepers? Oh. Something not of this world, perhaps, that you've managed to stumble across in your adventures around the city?
Sounds about right.
How does he know?
Where?
I've forgotten where it was.
Yeah, I forgot. It was on the docks and you were in an alleyway kind of beating the crap out of some poor
I was.
unfortunate to reduce heat or something like that, I think.
Hey, don't. This is how we work, you know.
You give him the thing. He says, "All right, this will be factored into your payment as well. Interesting. We will investigate and try to I wonder why. No matter." He picks up his cane and says, "We have terms, then?"
Absolutely.
All right.
Excellent.
I hold myself back from spitting on my hand, because I know Dalmor wouldn't go for that sort of thing.
He strides towards the stairs and says, Silver, would you walk me out, please? I have no wish to misstep on an uneven step in the dark.
Of course, it would be my pleasure.
He proceeds down with you and wishes you a good evening and strides out into... It's quite a kind of blustery night, and he strides out and pulls a hood over his curled hair and kind of fiddles with the lantern on top of his cane, so it's kind of full blast against the wind and darkness, and sort of tips the edge of his hood at you and strides off the kind of rocky promontory you're on.
I will close the door, head back upstairs. Did I say that you could turn my cards? I knew perfectly well the 3 sheets had the best hand, and I would have won that round.
Look, I knew I was going to win. Oh, God. Oh.
Echo, when will you learn? 3 sheets has a clear tell. I just can't with you. It's obvious.
Well, when he goes to peruse his as Steve put it, private library of romantic fiction, that's when he knows he's in a good place.
We need to come up with a rough plan, folks. So you have the location of the Wraiths' hideout in South Silkshore. You know it's the Wraiths. You know they're thieves. You've very briefly met one of them before, right back in your very first score.
It's true.
Bricks bumped into one while they were going about some kind of burglary. And you know it's a book you're looking for. So Dalmor has let you off the leash in terms of how you want to get this book. And he basically said anything's fine, attacking them, deceiving them, sneaking in, just negotiating, anything like that. So with that in mind, friends, what do we think? And let's just have the very briefest of brief discussions on the matter, decide a way forward, and then we'll get on with our engagement rolls. Justin?
There is nothing more daring than stealing from master thieves.
And you are the daring keepers.
Yeah, stealing does seem pretty good.
And if we attack them directly, there's no way that doesn't end in a massive gang war. And if we barter for it, we make less money because we have to pay some money.
At least you have to pay something.
Bartering is my second favourite option.
We could try and set up a meeting supposedly to buy it and then steal it.
That is very daring.
Have we tried this before?
We've done that.
Yeah. Didn't it go extremely
Hey, look,
well?
the writers on this show have got limited ideas. It's perfectly fine for us.
Week after week of fake buys being set up.
Yeah, we could do. We could. I'm just trying to think if there's any way you could use a cult. No, I mean none of us have really arcane power.
No, unfortunately, your guest star. Oriel is the only one with any real.
Otherwise, we could get a ghost syndicate.
Look, I'm trying to think if there's any. Oh, yeah, sorry.
When I met the Wraiths, or the Wraith, she was unbearably posh, but she seemed like an alright lass.
So you feel like maybe
She's posh.
not
Just be nice.
smashing their faces.
She was very posh.
And taking
By break
what's ours.
standards.
She wore shoes that had no holes in them.
Would
She
that
called
be
you sport, maybe that's why.
Yes.
That is pretty posh. So are you suggesting maybe social? Going via a connection?
I mean, if you were gonna like any actual just straight up negotiation with them would definitely be a social thing. It sounds to me like the methods we're talking about, it seems like we've cast aside assault.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad idea.
So it seems like we're talking about either deception, stealth, or social here, depending on whether we want to trick them, steal from them directly, or literally just say, what do you fucking want for this book?
I mean, if they're trying to fence it, we could try to be buyers. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We could set ourselves up in that way with that as a sort of deception thing, although.
And we might be able to do something like offer our service, like offer try and buy it for a favor or something like that.
Oh yeah, almost certainly. Like so much transaction in Doskvol is kind of favors and services rendered rather than cold hard cash.
Oh, and that would be the social angle. Like we'll do something for you,
like a smuggling job, smuggle some of their other stolen material out of the city or something like that. I like this plan.
Right?
It's just not very daring.
Sure, I suppose the only flip of that is if you aren't willing to pay what they ask, then it turns into something else, right? Or you failed, and that's
pretty disastrous.
Bad news, demon bears.
the other thing is that it does, like, they'll know it's us, and that could potentially lead back to Delmar. Whereas if we do,
and we don't even know what we're asking for. Like, we go in there, we're trying to buy a book that's got some maps in it. Do you have one of those lying around?
But if they're putting feelers out about fencing the thing, then like presumably
think
there
it's
are people you
valuable.
can talk to who can put you in contact with them. So where are we leaning on this, folks? Why don't we just take a quick
Straw poll.
a straw poll on it. Bricks out of deception, stealth, and social. What are you favoring?
I mean, none of them are really Brix's forte.
Assault.
God, I don't know.
We can do
Silver.
assault if Bricks really wants to.
Silver. What are you favoring there?
Okay, do we know how big of a group the Wraiths are?
I mean, you can if you want to do if you want to do a roll to find out.
Yeah, gather information, Rock. Can we do that?
Gather some information. Yeah.
I'd like to do that.
Let's gather some information. Let's talk about things you did to gather information, with the caveat that this is tonight that he wants this done. So nothing too elaborate. But certainly you could spend a couple of hours roaming around asking questions and stuff. And Sam brought it up first. So let's Silver. What do you want to find out, and what are you doing to do it?
I think I'd like to know how kind of big of an organization are the Wraiths? How powerful are they? How secure? Like how good is their lair? And how good of a criminal organization are they?
Sure. Obviously, the more questions like that you're asking, the less detail you'll get on each of them individually. But if you just want kind of the most general information you can get, that you can pick up, obviously I'll give you more of it. The better roll you get. Okay. But let's find out. And how are you finding out that information?
I think probably consort. I might go and talk to the grinders or people who I think would be kind of in the know about who's around and who's at the.
So here's an interesting thing. Are you asking, if you're going to talk to the grinders, are you going to the docks, or are you going around Silkshore and asking?
That's true.
we could also ask at the Red Lantern, because they are a big business in Silkshore and they might know better about the Silkshore gangs.
That's true, and I know Nirix at the Red Lantern. So maybe
could be an extra dice for a friend or a contact or something, or extra effect.
And let's go for that. That sounds good.
Okay. There definitely is an extra thing for friends or contact. I'm not sure. Is that an extra dice? I was kind of under the impression that you don't get. That's for downtime activities, I think, that you get a boost on things for friends and contacts. I mean, it's one of those things where it always strikes me as kind of odd in Blades in the Dark. There's essentially no way to get extra dice for other than spending stress and stuff. But
I think technically you could do something like, given that you obviously didn't know that these people would be relevant to this score, but they're in our area. You could plausibly be having a flashback to just your general knowledge of these people,
a chat you had with Nirix a few weeks ago.
Oh, you remember this chat?
And therefore
you sort of vaguely have a sense of the area, and then that would just be a normal roll, which could then be advantage or disadvantage.
Or a flashback about Nirix saying, "Oh, I bought this piece of item, this piece of jewelry. It was stolen by the," you know what I mean, something like that, which modifies the effect or something.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just basically the only things that really change in action rolls are the effect and the position, rather than getting extra dice or anything like that. So, not so much. The thing about the flashback thing is one of the reasons I never kind of see the point in flashbacks in these bits is because they have the stress mechanic and they often involve a roll anyway. So it's why not just do it for no stress by doing it outside of a flashback?
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you what we'll do then. I'll just check, I'll say it's a great effect because you're, I'll just factor it in with my brain, not with the mechanics. It's fine. So go ahead and make your roll. Is anyone assisting?
No. Ain't no got time for that stress.
No. Go ahead then, Silver.
I got a 6 and a 3. So 6.
Well then. From Nirix isn't at the Red Lantern tonight, but you do learn some things from her co-workers who are happy to see you and perfectly happy to talk about the Wraiths. Because you know what? There's a lot going around about the Wraiths at the moment. They're on everyone's lips because a word has it that they're a mysterious crew of masked thieves and spies who've pulled off some pretty daring escapades in and around Doskvol. Rumor has it that recently, in particular, they made some kind of highly significant score, which they're attempting to tout around Doskvol on the black market. Wonder what that could be. You learn a few things here, and I'll give you 3 bits of extra general information about them, one for each level of the effect, right? Number 1, they are seen, they're certainly like players within Doskvol, but not particularly potent ones. They just seem to stick to what they're good at and get that done. In mechanical terms, they're tier 2.
Okay.
Secondly, what was one of the other questions you were asking?
How many of them? Maybe?
How many of them there are? There aren't perceived to be many of them, maybe 4 or 5. Like a fairly kind of typical crew size, so not
gang.
They're elite thieves. They're not like a widespread rampaging gang. What else?
Having heard what you've said, could I ask, as a final bit of information, to learn about what kind of masks and outfit they wear? Like, do they wear a particular mask? Do they just
you are given the description of what the Wraiths are seen wearing when they move across the routes, seen glimpsed moving across the rooftops and alleyways of Doskvol, and it is unsurprisingly identical to the description Brix gave you. They're swathed all in black. They wear completely face covering masks, like painted black metal masks. With either eye slits or you can't see their eyes or any of their features at all, essentially. And a couple of interactions, people say they speak with kind of inhuman voices.
Okay.
Posh. The most inhuman of all of us.
See, when I called you sport, I was thinking in a kind of like, I wasn't using an Australian accent, but that was the angle I was going for. Sort of like more bantery, I guess. But there we go.
Cool.
But it came off as posh banter because you called me sport.
But Australians also use the word, and they're not pot. No Australian is posh. Yeah.
Sorry for any Australians in our audience who are posh.
Look, anyway, they're not
We
Australian.
just spent the last 60 seconds criticizing people for being posh. So,
Look, I wasn't called anything but sport until my 18th birthday.
And you're Australian, right?
Yeah. I've been there.
And that's as good as being from there.
True. So,
yeah.
What else do we want to do? Any more information gathering?
I
think we
actually
can
relay
very
all of that.
briefly scout out the hideout if you wanted. But obviously, if you've got to get a move on, there's a limit to how long you can spend doing that. But
I think a scouting sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Does Echo want to do it, or 3 Sheets is happy to do it? Very happy to do it.
Yeah. I think you're better at it than I am.
Doubt. I've got 2 in Hunt, but
I've got 1 in Survey.
Same here.
Or 3 in Prowl. Which
I think
guess...
Prowl's a pretty legit action to use for it.
Yeah,
it's still more movement based than like understanding.
Sure, yeah, it's not
based.
as good as Survey. Yeah, absolutely.
I guess I can be like sneaky and get less information, or I can be like over and be like
risk reward.
Justin, don't you have a thing that when you scout for information, you get an extra?
When you're gathering information to locate a target, but I don't know if that's necessarily that is.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's that.
I'm not hunting.
I don't think Hunt is a very good role for it because it's.
Yeah,
I think Prowl is better. Survey is definitely Survey or Study maybe are like the top ones, I think, but like
one of those intellect ones. All right. I think I will. I think I'm leaning more towards the stealth side of things now. I don't think we're from that initial gathering information. I don't think we've gained very much of an in terms of deceiving them or some contact that we have with them.
Although if you wanted to make contact with them, that would be another role. Well, that would probably be our engagement role if you're doing that. But like, but if you
finding out does anyone else in the crew feel? I mean, I'm probably wanting to scout out this place, but
if you're wanting to do that, let's deal with that first, and then we'll move. Deal with that. Have a look at see what you think, and then we can talk about maybe if we want to do a third role. But we'll probably leave it at the third role and then get on with planning.
So I'm gonna prowl then.
Sure, absolutely. I'm gonna say this has standard effect.
Okay.
And are you pushing it or getting any assistance or anything like that?
Anyone want to help?
You're really good at prowl. I was going to assist.
I will also offer you a devil's bargain, which will tick a clock.
There are no bad clocks.
Can I go over? Can I go over 4? Can I go to 5?
Is there a cap? That's quite a good question. Let's have a look at the
because I will accept.
I don't think there's a cap.
I mean, if you've got 4, you don't really need to accept a devil's bargain, but
there's no.
Just accepting it because we actively want more clocks ticked.
I can feel Chris just
the
like
action rating,
cringing and just like hating every second of what I'm doing right now.
You can get 2 bonus dice for your action roll, so you can have up to 2.
So if I'm on 3
it doesn't say there's a cap.
Okay, well let's go for it.
Yeah, you taking that bargain?
Well, yeah, I'll take that bargain. Okay.
Sheesh.
5 dice. Let's see.
Press for bricks, right?
Okay, so I got 6.
Bricks helping?
Yes.
Yeah.
I got a 6, but I did not get a crit.
Okay. Before you do that, why don't you tell me, how are you going about this, and how is bricks helping specifically? That is the detail I want to know. How bricks is helping you be stealthy.
Okay. I think so. I'm going about this. So what is their like hideout area?
Yeah, I should describe the basic environment before you answer that question, shouldn't I? Absolutely.
That is exactly right.
So this area of Silkshore is pretty quiet, especially for Silkshore, as it's blending into like the edges of Barrowcleft. The houses become smaller. It becomes a bit more not quite rural or pastoral, but as rural and pastoral as Duskvold gets. And there's a lot of sort of old paved avenues around there that are now kind of cracked and covered with a bit of moss, but still they don't look, they're not wreckage and horribleness. They're just clearly an area that's sort of maybe saw more traffic a long time ago. All around you see the hovels and stalls of people engaged in kind of crafting trade, but basic stuff, very basic pottery, and a little bit of blacksmithing, and maybe some people selling some basic fishing catches from the edges of the sea, pots of eels and the like. And then you round a corner and you see what seems to be, at first glance, a slightly smaller copy of your own lair, because it is a tower, a ruined tower, not a lighthouse, but some kind of tower that's been there in the past. The purpose is completely unknown, looking quite a bit more archaic than your own dwelling, and it's covered in moss and cracks and looks for all the world like a tumble down abandoned tower, with the very top room of it just still precariously balancing on a mound of stone.
Okay, I think if Bricks is okay with this, I think the thing I will suggest is that we make, like, I give Bricks a tiny jangling small amount of money around like that he can wear in a way that like pickpockets would just love the look of.
Sure.
And I'm going to watch Bricks from a distance and try and like scout out who's scoping him out, and by that try and because I think the thing I'm trying to do is remain stealthy, try and figure out where they are so that I can get a closer look at this tower.
Sure. I think that just what I will flag up, absolutely go ahead. From all the descriptions of the race you've heard, you doubt any of them are pickpockets.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they are a gang of elite thieves going after prime targets.
But
Okay.
maybe they're overconfident.
Maybe
then I'll just make Bricks. I'll just suggest that Bricks be somewhat somewhat out of place. Like
start a fight or an argument or
exactly
distracting. Yeah,
something in the area that they would take notice of. I think. And
sure.
Cause some trouble, Bricks.
I'm sure Bricks can come up with an idea for that. Absolutely.
Bricks is good at starting fights.
So presumably, Echo, while this is happening, you're sticking to the shadows. You're creeping kind of around the perimeter, all around the tower, and just trying to get a good look at things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, why don't you then give me that roll, and we'll see how it works out.
Oh, I feel like I already did that roll, but shall I roll again?
Sorry.
So yeah, I did it quite quickly. I got 1-6, but I didn't get a critical.
Yeah, absolutely fine. So before I give you the information on what's going on, Bricks, why don't you tell us exactly what you're doing? As I said, there's still some stalls with people selling stuff still, kind of even this late at night. So what are you getting up to?
I'm going to find someone who it looks like it would be quite fun to start a fight with.
Sure.
I'm going to start talking about buying something from them, and then I'm going to very quickly accuse them of trying to scam me.
Okay, absolutely. Then Echo, as you're kind of creeping around the perimeter of this wreck tower, you can just hear Brick's voice echoing over this kind of old, cracked, paved avenue of I wouldn't
My nan could make better pottery than this, and she's dead.
I wouldn't fill this with piss. Sort of thing. As a kind of older lady selling pottery is sort of like squaring up to Bricks and tapping him furiously on the chest with a cane to make her point known. Try not to break her neck, Bricks. So you walk around the perimeter of, or creep around the perimeter of this tower. A couple of things you notice. Firstly, you're fairly sure it's occupied. Secondly, were it not for your eagle eyes, you'd be very impressed with how well that is being concealed. Thirdly, there doesn't seem to your eyes to be any kind of like traps or people lurking or whatever around like the base of the tower. And you have to be double sure of this. You have to kind of maybe move around the area and stick to some bushes and just kind of look up to make absolutely sure. But you're fairly sure one of the gargoyles on like the crenellations 2/3 up the tower is not a gargoyle. You're almost certain you saw just the slightest of breaths. As the dark shape kind of on its haunches looking downwards, you're pretty sure that is a wraith on lookout.
Oh man. Well, hopefully I remained unseen. So I'll try
You
and
seem to have remained unseen, yes.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yes. Okay. And I'll go back and I'll report this obviously to everyone.
So with this in mind, folks, and with it in mind, we're halfway through the stream, so let's try and crack on with the score. What solution do we want to employ to move forwards on this?
How about... Oh, sorry, 3 sheets.
I'm going with trade. I think is my favorite. I think sneaking in would be pretty tough, although daring, or kill them all because there's like 6 of them. Like
we could start one and default to the other.
It's always the plan, really.
Okay, so yeah, the only thought I had was they must change that gargoyle at some point. When they change, that's a time to hit.
It's true.
So I'm happy to go with either. Let's just. Shall we? Does it help just to be decisive and go right? Let's go with trade. Let's
It certainly helps to not carry on talking about it.
Trade.
Trade. I'm assuming Silver is up for the social one because Silver's social.
Yeah, I think the Silver things about the stealth is we haven't actually seen how they get in and out of this tower, really, have we? Like, there's a door. But
I should mention, there is an old wrecked door, but there's also honestly like cracks and gaps in the walls of the tower that you could just slip through. But whether they're trapped or watched on the inside, there's really no way of knowing without trying to get in.
Okay,
Silver will be up for social. Or I mean, if we wanted to go for stealth, she'd be fine.
No, let's just go for it. Let's commit.
When the stealthy person wants to go social, it's probably a good decision to go social. Okay, well, in that case, what I need to know is the social connection. So how are you going to make contact with the Wraiths and kind of engage them with this? What contacts of yours are you going to use? Or if you don't have any appropriate ones, how are you going to get in contact with them to talk to them about this?
I I am honestly going to suggest going up and knocking on the door.
It's one way to do it.
Just hello, welcome. Yeah. If it's a specific contact, none of us know any Wraiths.
I mean, you all know fences and general dodgy folk around Doswell, and you could almost certainly find some way of getting in contact with them. But if you just want to take the direct approach, we can do the direct approach.
All right, let's go for that.
I'm wondering if maybe they wouldn't appreciate. No, you know what? That wouldn't occur to Bricks. Sod it.
I think Silver would think like we're trying to be as discreet as possible here, and perhaps knocking on the door. Like people in the street might see us showing up. It's not
true.
Okay,
ideal.
how about this? I sneak up as best I can past their security, but I present them with an envelope.
But you kind of make it clear to them once you're inside that you are not trying to hide; you are here to talk.
Yeah. So we're here.
Try to impress them with that. Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Good plan.
Yeah, sure. I like that. Yeah, that's a nice mix as well, right? So okay, well, let's talk about the engagement roll then. So you get the 1 die for sheer luck. Let's talk about potential advantages and disadvantages you might have. I'm happy to give you an advantage because you've scouted out the tower. That seems appropriate. What others would you like to argue for?
I think the one that is hopefully they respect our approach.
That you are being discreet.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Obviously, I don't want to reveal stuff about the Wraiths unnecessarily, but I am giving you the die for that.
They also want to sell this thing. Like it is very much in their interests to sell it, so we are trying to buy it or whatever.
And I think that is a perfectly reasonable extra die to get as well. I'm trying to think of any disadvantages that there might be in this approach. I'm going to take one off for the danger that just in sneaking in, you might
fuck it up.
Trigger some alarms, or they might react inappropriately to it. Because I think it is, risky. Justin,
it's up to you, but we're also potentially a rival gang. We've done some stealthy type missions, and they might feel that
their interactions with you haven't been negative.
Sure.
I think that's fine. That's
cool.
They weren't positive or negative, so I think that's just a big old flat. But you got 3 dice here. It's pretty good.
We're not thieves, so there's no real
You are
thieves and smugglers work
You're
well
thief
together.
adjacent. You are thief adjacent.
But we're thief advocates.
We're in the thieving supply line.
Yes.
Product chain.
Yeah. I don't
chain,
think
that's
those
what
kind of existential, we are this thing, this is specific circumstance. I think 3 dice for an engagement roll is pretty strong. I think this is a pretty strong plan, whether you
Genius plan.
care or not.
So now everything's going to fall apart.
So that leaves you in a risky position. 5 was the highest there. So I think we can safely pick up here. Tell me, Brick, Silver, and 3 sheets, where are you while this is happening?
I'm helping with Echoes breaking in.
Okay. Sure. How about Bricks and Silver?
I guess we would we would be asking to meet them somewhere. I'm assuming
That's
a
where
plan.
you are, right? Or,
Yeah.
or would you expect them to name the place?
I kind of think we'd go in with some kind of idea of where we wanted to meet, because otherwise we're kind of showing up like, hey, tell us where you were. I think we'd say some neutral location that we think they'd be comfortable. I don't know whether that would be a very quiet place or like a bar or.
What about the brothel?
I mean, there are a lot of prying eyes there.
That's true.
But I'll tell you what, here's what we'll do, because it feels to me like this opening scene is going to be Echo and 3 sheets, right? So if Bricks and Silver are waiting somewhere else, here's what I want you to do, guys. There is if you go to page 301 of the Blades in the Dark PDF, there is a table for generating random buildings. Okay, what I want you to do for me is I want you, between the two of you, can take yourselves on mute and discuss it in the private chat if you want. I want you to roll me. If you look on those tables, there's an exterior top section. Roll me a material and a details. Roll me a use rare, and roll me some details from the bottom one. And if you can put them in private chat for me, that's where you'll be waiting for them. How about that?
That is how you delegate as a GM.
That is how you delegate. So take yourselves on mute and use the private chat as you need. In fact, you know what? Let's strip them off. Steve, if you can strip off John and Sam while they deal with that, then we can get on with. Lovely. Awesome. Okay. So, Echo and 3 sheets. Let's pick this up. Yeah, 3 sheets. Are you helping to go in physically, or are you just kind of around and keeping a lookout?
I think I will be basically helping to my limit. So if I can get in, then I'll go with Echo. But once I get to the point where it's like, Echo is really the only person who can do the feat of prowling that is needed to get any further.
Sure.
One thing you could also do is have a bead on that gargoyle, so that
I'm not going to shoot the. That would be not a good idea.
That's if the negotiation goes bad.
Okay.
Anyway, no.
Absolutely. So you are going up to try and make your entrance into this place. I'm guessing that Echo is making the primary role here, and I mean, sorry, Justin, go on.
No, I'm just saying I'm taking a light load.
Oh yeah, that's a very good point. Well remembered, Justin. Yeah, everyone determine your loads. Thank you. Echo. I mean, I could ask you what you're going to roll for this, but it seems kind of it's prowl. I will offer you a devil's bargain for this if you wish. It will be a tick of a clock. And what
about a group roll?
You can do a group roll if you want. It's up to you guys.
And that's we take the highest result.
Yeah, you take the highest results, and whoever's leading the roll, which will presumably be Pierre, will take stress for every person who rolls a 1, 2, or 3 as their highest.
I don't mind whether we want to do a group roll or I can just assist you, because both would get the same result, which is 1 extra die.
Yeah, let's do a group roll, because
the group roll only has a chance of stress, but it has a chance of 2 stress rather than 1.
We could both
as well. All right, let's do the group roll then. Echo will be taking the lead on it. I'm offering you a devil's bargain for an extra. For tick or ticks on a clock.
Yeah, I think I'm being a bit reckless, so I'm going to. Yes.
Does my? Oh, never mind. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
It's okay.
So yes, I am. So I'm rolling 4 dice for my prowl. And I rolled, my highest result was a 5.
Okay. And Justin, how did you do?
I rolled a 2.
Okay. So that's
take a stress.
You took the devil's bargain with that, Pierre, right?
I did.
Cool. Okay. So take 1 stress for Justin's 2.
Mm-hmm.
But you get the result of a 5, which is pretty good. So the complication that I'm taking from your 5 is another tick on a clock.
We've ticked this clock just.
There's no bad clock. There's no bad clock.
There we go. Okay, so you get to the dark walls of the tower. The pair of you manage to get away up. It's surrounded by kind of like the kind of scrubby plants that can survive in the permanent darkness of Doskvol, and kind of lots of mushrooms underfoot and stuff like that. And you sort of can take a breath against the side of this stone tower, and you see ahead of you, just around, you see that wrecked doorway. Doesn't seem like a good approach, but almost near you is a crack that you just have to kind of like shimmy up a bit and kind of wriggle through to get inside. 3 sheets doesn't seem like particularly your method of moving around, so maybe you're better
quite
off,
agile enough.
maybe you're better off lurking out here and keeping an eye out. But Echo can certainly make her way inside via this method. As to what is inside,
Who knows? Okay. I start to wriggle. If it's made out of stone, am I making very much noise?
probably not too much. No, like there'll be some kind of rustling as you kind of like try and wriggle your way through it, but definitely not too much noise.
Sure. I'm also, by the way, going with light load. So
Sure. Yeah. You don't need like climbing gear to get through here or anything. It's only like it's about 6 feet up, so you just have to like scramble and then wriggle your way through.
So I get my boost from 3 sheets, and I start sort of squirming my way through. The letter is in my mouth.
Absolutely. You find yourself, you're kind of wriggling through. The wall is thicker than you might have thought it would have been. It's kind of about about 5 foot, kind of an old, very strong stone tower, clearly made to resist something. Who knows? But maybe it's the thickness of the stone that's kept it up for so long. And you find yourself wriggling through, and like you're just poking over the edge, like your upper arms and the upper part of your torso just leaning over into it's very dark in here, a kind of black spacious void, and blinking you can just about make out kind of wreckage all along the floor, and what looks like a couple of ropes hanging down from the top of the inside. And as you kind of heave yourself forward to try and get a purchase on the other side and get your way down, you feel the cold metal of something just very lightly, not violently, touch the back of your neck from above, and a voice says, a female voice says, "Now, what would you be doing in such a silly place, sport?"
We don't shoot. And I sort of slowly kind of wriggle around, and
Sure.
The letter is in my mouth.
Directly kind of balanced over the crack, which he has 1 foot on either side of the crack and is just like hunched over, and has a flintlock just lightly touching the back of your neck. And she's swathed in black silks and black leather, and has like a sort of odd burnished black painted black metal mask with quite large sort of eyepieces that you can't see. They're kind of glass of some kind, but you can't see through them, and has almost like little curled designs down. It's oddly reminiscent of sort of maybe like an insect's face or something like that. And she tilts her head and says, and kind of reaches out and points like quite close to your mouth and says, "Is that for me?"
I nod slowly.
She plucks it out of your teeth, and sort of quite carefully, and still maintaining, she quite deftly opens it with one hand, kind of brings the letter out and throws the envelope down to the floor, reads the letter. Why don't you tell me what the letter says?
Dearest Wraiths, you are cordially invited to a rendezvous of mutual benefit at and where is it that it is at?
The abandoned.
You have picked
The abandoned-
You have picked a set of old, abandoned, I think, or at least very tattered and threadbare horse stables.
Okay,
And you know what? I don't think we determined what guys. Can you find somewhere? I think you have maybe by rolling a d12 or something. I think there are 12 districts. Can you roll a d12 for which district it's in, and can you do it twice? So if you roll like one that's really inappropriate, we can pick the other one and just pop them in the thing. But it's in a set of horse stables.
but yes, you're
very
cordially
neutral ground.
invited to the neutral ground for a matter of a mutually beneficial deal. We would like to negotiate a certain item that is in your possession in exchange for something that may be even more valuable.
Absolutely. Sorry, just in private chat, can't find there isn't a table for districts, but there's a list of districts that are alphabetical, and just pick from that. She reads this through and nods and kind of tucks it. She's wearing kind of like a long kind of black duster coat over the top of the silks and the black leather. And she says, she kind of withdraws the musket slightly and says, "Don't move a muscle. I'll be right back." And she just leaps out into the void of the tower, catches one of the hanging ropes, and just before you know it, it's just gone. And all that's left is like a rope swinging in the darkness.
Maybe at this point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything's going according to plan. I've given the letter. They seem pretty keen. I'm not yet dead. At this point,
Are you kind of like stuck in the crack?
Yeah. I'm like sort of wedged in.
In my head, the feet are still kind of like poking out on the outside of the tower. Yeah.
Is it so? If it's sufficiently dark in here that I can't see anything,
You can vaguely see things, but not.
Okay, I do have I could have brought along a dark sight mask to get a little look.
Oh,
Okay,
go
yeah.
ahead. Sneaky.
Go ahead if
Sneaky
you want
sausage.
to. If you want to have that with you, and do you want to make an action roll to see what you can
Yeah.
glean from
Yeah,
that?
I think I will. I'll have just brought that along, and
Sure. Yeah.
Survey
Absolutely.
or
Well,
something?
what action roll? Yeah. What action roll do we want to make?
I'm gonna survey.
Survey seems very appropriate. I have no devil's bargain for you, but if you want to push yourself, then go ahead.
Yes.
I would say you are in a risky situation.
Okay. I am pushing myself for an extra dice. I rolled a 4. It's the highest roll.
Okay, that seems perfectly reasonable. And let's look. I'm going to say I'm just going to give you a reduced effect for that. I think because I can't think of anything hugely more appropriate for there. So let's give you a standard impression of what's around then. So you can see that the base of the tower appears to be, as you thought it was, like largely empty, and indeed most of the interior of the tower seems to be empty as well. There look to be some old stone steps leading upwards in a similar way to your tower, like round the edges in a spiral, but they're full of kind of bits where the steps have fallen through and cracked on the ground. Generally not an easy or even feasible way to get up there. There are cracks, various cracks kind of dotted around the tower, and there seem to be at least 3 ropes hanging down from the center, one of which is still kind of swinging from your the greeter's ascent up there. And dimly, very far above, you suspect right at the top of the tower, you can see where there looks to be a fairly intact stone floor, presumably a room or large chamber or floor at the top that is still functional in some fashion.
Seems like that's the sort of place where, if one were to hide valuables, that might be where they go.
Maybe.
I sort of stash the dark sight mask back into my cloaks and resume the exact muscle memory position
Sure.
that the person asked me to be in.
Absolutely. hop on outside. Don't feel you have to like come up with an action roll or anything. What is 3 sheets doing though? Do you want to do anything, or are you just happy to play the waiting game here?
I think I should do something to help the score along. I feel very strongly about that.
You don't have to at all, but it's entirely up to you.
No, I'll be quiet then.
Sure. So, about 60 seconds later, there is a sort of slithering down the same rope as before, and the individual you saw before makes her way down to the bottom of the rope and just kind of like swings slightly on it there, looking at you. She has the musket kind of held quite lightly in one hand, pointed near you, but not quite at you. And she says, "All right then, it's your lucky day. An hour."
Perfect. See you then. And I sort of shimmy my way back in.
Just yank. Disappears in a flash.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We have 1 hour. Let's get a move on.
Okay, Batman.
Absolutely. You make your way, and I think that the guys rolled up Crow's Foot, which is a very central area of Duskvold that's known as the center of crime and gang activity. Lots of crews fighting over turf in the center of Duskvold, which seems very appropriate for this kind of meeting. And let's pick up again, unless there's anything you particularly want to do on your way to Crow's Foot. Let's pick up again when you're entering these horse stables, these tattered, threadbare old horse stables. And, horses are pretty expensive in Duskvold, so because feeding them is an absolute nightmare. Maybe let's say this is abandoned. There probably aren't many functional horse stables in Crow's Foot, and it's a very basic stone and timber building where the roof has like slightly collapsed in one corner, and it's got that horse stabling thing. When you go in, there's lots of like wooden pillars and little walls separating out the different individual, I don't know, berths. What do you call them in stables? Probably just the individual stables. I don't know. But yeah, that's what it looks like. Not dissimilar to the goat stable we had a wonderful scene in a few weeks ago, but minus goats, importantly. Importantly, minus
a shame.
Goats. Bricks and silver. Let's bring you guys back on. Stalls. Thank you, John. Individual stalls in a horse stable. Let's bring you guys back on and oh god, that's me and Steve doing the same thing there. Find out, what have Bricks and Silver been doing while they wait, and is it anything we want to make an action roll for?
Yeah. you gotta lay out a table. This is a meeting of minds and gangs. We've got to have wine, food. We've got to.
We would probably try and tidy up a little bit, and maybe try and make sure it's secure in the sense there's no one like sleeping in here or something. It is Crow's Foot, you never know. Like just clearing it out.
My plan was to make it secure and also try and clock all the possible entrances and maybe limit them, as if I think that would stop what chat referred to as this gang of Batmans from just finding another way in.
Absolutely. Justin, what are you going to say?
I have got an idea for a flashback where 3 Sheets is hunting for a location that is secure in case we need to stash something. And so it's a while ago, and and the plan is I find this stables as a secure location to hide something, but it now works for the meeting. So I would like to. That's my plan for flashback.
I'm perfectly happy for that. And do we see that as like making Brick's roll have a greater effect or something like that? Or
yeah. So my idea would be that we would have chosen this location because it's difficult to be snuck up on or easy to protect or defend, and so it could make Brick's roll have a greater effect because the location is already designed to be.
That sounds like a really good thing. I think that's not entirely coincidental. It does have a bit of purpose to it. So, but I will just charge you 1 stress for that flashback.
That's very, very generous. And so
you've located this horse stable in the past, and you know what? We can link this because the consulate caper was in Crow's Foot, right? Maybe it's somewhere you noticed near the Skovlan consulate around that time, and you kind of earmarked it out as somewhere.
Would you consider this to be a gather information role to locate a target?
I don't think we need to make a roll for it. I'm just happy for you to increase the effect for a stress. That's
Just like
fine.
making rolls.
So, I mean, you have a chance to fail it if you want, but no, I think like just one stress is enough payment for that. I think that's absolutely fine. So while we're on that topic, then let's start with Bricks. So Bricks, what roll do you want to make to try and make sure this place is secure?
I was going to use my Harper.
That's a good one. That's a great one.
I was going to say survey, but I was looking at my sheet and I saw hunt, so it became Hervey.
Hervey.
I would like to use my Hervey skill.
Sure.
Survey.
Survey. Yes. Let's do that. And let's move that. So that will have a great effect.
I'd be happy to assist if it's wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a controlled situation. Here's the thing. Here's an interesting thing. So let me just have a look down at these things. And what would I say to make things potentially... No, I would have given it a standard roll, I think. So it is moved to great. That's fine. And it's controlled, and silver is helping by the sound of it. I've got no devil's bargain for you. So that sounds like it's a roll with a +1 and silver taking an extra stress.
Okay, so that is rolling 2 dice. It's 6.
Great.
6 and a 5.
So this horse stable, what you basically determine, 3 sheets pick this place out pretty damn well. There are 2 viable entrances to this, unless someone wants to get a bit wrecky with some tools. There is the main entrance, which has a set of still functional doors that swing in and out, and there is a gap in the ceiling over by the corner that you have to you'd have to get onto the rooftop and descend from above. That's the layout of the place. What are we doing, if anything, about it, or are we happy that are we just happy that there's only two entrances that can be watched?
I think
take a bit of action with that as well.
I think that 3 sheets could also take up a kind of shooting position in a nearby building, but in a way that doesn't seem too intimidating. More kind of like keeping watch, nearby to.
I think that's a slightly separate role to make.
Okay, sorry.
This is something we're doing while 3 sheets and Echo are on their own business. So
that's true.
I think I'm happy with just the 2 entrances because I'm pretty sure I know which one they'll go for.
Sure, that seems a good bet, right? So in other words, you can take up a position near that, not to guess for you, near that hole in the roof, and stand there in a guarding but non-threatening manner with your gear. Is that the idea? What load did you go for?
I went for normal.
You went for normal, okay. Are you employing any of your load in terms of what you're standing and visibly armed with, or anything like that? If we're talking about how you're preparing for their arrival.
I mean, we're trying to come across as definitely not a trap.
Sure.
So I probably won't be visibly armed.
Okay, that's absolutely fine then. So you're stood nearby, visibly, presumably not hiding if it's also a trap.
Yeah.
But just, you're a big guy stood there like a bouncer at the ceiling.
Yeah.
We are here. Welcome, watch yourselves, sort of thing.
Basically, yeah.
Silver, we were talking about a role for you to make a welcoming gang meeting environment to the place in general. So what action role are we using for that? And are we I have no devil's bargain. Are we augmenting it in any way, or anything, using assistance or anything like that?
I'm not sure exactly. I just try to be clean it up a little bit, I guess. Make it. There's probably some not that pleasant stuff in abandoned horse stables. Maybe clean it out, maybe set out a table and some chairs if we can find any around, and just have a place that people can discuss. I have
Yeah.
no idea what role that would
Something
be,
a bit
if
more
any.
presentable.
Really.
Put up some drapes.
Yeah, bring some drapes with me.
Good
Probably
old
not. Probably not. To be honest. I'm not going to waste drapes on this.
I could think of it. It might be a number of different things you could use. I think. Is there anything you particularly have in mind?
Wreck.
Probably-
Wreck could be used for it. Sure.
I guess is Tinker the best, but I don't have any in Tinker. But
I think Tinker would be a good one. I think Survey is fine.
Yeah.
I think Study might be fine. I think Finesse might be fine for just kind of like moving stuff around and whatever. I think there's even an argument for Consort, like because you know how people like to consort.
yeah, fair. I think I'll go. I like Survey as something that I'd take a look around and try and fix stuff up and make it a bit more appropriate.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a normal effect. I think that's like a standard effect. I think that's absolutely fine. So are we getting any assistance? Are we pushing ourselves? Anything like that?
I'll assist.
Okay, so that's a stress for bricks. Take an extra die and go ahead and make your roll.
Okay, I got a 3 and a 2.
Okay then. So let's go with so that being a controlled roll failure. So yeah, you can. I mean, this place is an absolute mess, and you really don't see a way to make it more presentable. If you want, you could try and go out and try and scavenge some stuff from the nearby area. Maybe go into a nearby tavern and ask to throw them some small coin for borrowing. A table and chairs or whatever, but that definitely starts to move to another risky role with the possibility that people will go, why the hell, so you can you can call it off as a bad deal, this place is going to look like shit no matter what, or you can kind of try for a more risky approach on it.
I think Silver would go and try and get some stuff from a nearby tavern.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. Then go ahead, and this is going to be a risky roll. It's gonna, what are you going to roll for this?
I think this time I will roll Consort.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
A good one for this.
Are you employing any help from bricks for this purpose or anything like that? I will offer a devil's bargain. And I'll let you guess what I'm offering it for. It's my favorite. It's a clock.
You know what? No, I'm not gonna take it.
Probably wise.
You seem a little too enthused about it, just a tiny bit.
Sure. So sorry, did we say you were pushing or getting assistance or anything like that?
I won't push. And I would respect if Bricks wants to hang on to his stress.
I'll put it this way. John is happy to assist. Bricks will not offer and will, in fact, roll his eyes if asked, but he will go along with it.
Okay, well, it sounds like Silver isn't asking particularly, so shall we just make it the flat consort roll for Silver then? This is...
You know what? I also don't think he'd let her go out on her own, so yeah, might as well give us
okay. Yeah, sure. It could be something as simple as just keeping an eye out on the door, right? To try and make sure no one's following Silver back or anything. So go ahead. Take the stress and an extra die, please, Silver.
Okay. I got a 6. 6 to turn a 1.
There we go. Yeah, you wander into a nearby tavern and just mention some light coin for borrowing a table and some chairs for an hour or so, and the rather it's a pretty empty dive of a place. There's a few kind of various different what look like different gangs hanging out there. You see some red sashes with their titular crimson swathes of silk around themselves, and maybe a couple of lamp blacks and the like, sort of face down in puddles of alcohol, essentially. And he seems pretty glad to have a customer who's just going to give him some coin and not give him any trouble. he takes it gladly, points out what you can take, and Bricks, you don't see anyone following or taking any notice or anything as the pair of you kind of just take at least a table and some chairs over to the horse stables.
Can we also get some like bottles of whatever it is they drink?
Like fungus wine and stuff like that. Yes, very. Exactly. I mean, it's not good stuff, but it's there for whatever reason. Okay, let's have Echo and 3 Sheets arrive, and I don't think we need necessarily any rolls to wait for the Wraiths. But if you guys want to have a little bit of role play, we get to do some role play scenes in this store. Do you guys want to do any of that or catch each other up or anything?
Yeah, go on. Looks great. I love what you've done with the place, Silver. How did you pull it off?
Thank you. I tried my
5 tips
best
to make your sables look as. Anyway,
I appreciate you had to find a secure location, but really, it was very run down. But you did a good job on the security front, 3 Sheets.
well, you've got to have lots of different locations, and each one has its own strengths and weaknesses. Horses for courses.
How long have you been waiting to say that, Justin?
Like only a few seconds.
Okay. Good.
So we have 15 minutes, I reckon, before they get here. We obviously said we had something good on offer. Let's hope they buy what we're selling.
I suppose that's something we should really discuss now. What are we willing to offer them?
Smuggling. They need to forget items that they've stolen from place to place. We can give them good rates. Do the jobs on the cheap.
Yep.
Maybe give them a free one in exchange for a book, say.
Well, if they've got anything particular in mind, then Silver, I trust you won't commit us to anything too difficult.
I'm sure you'll be able to handle whatever we agree to.
Sure. And if they say no, I guess there's always the other option. And I sort of look at 3 Sheets of gun.
I think I'm going to take if there's somewhere like reasonably elevated, sit there, but with a lantern, so it's clear that I'm there. I'm not trying to hide.
Absolutely.
So
but
it's just
keeping an
I'm
eye
here. They know I'm here.
Absolutely.
Hopefully that's reassuring.
I'm going to make a fortune roll now, and it's to do with the Wraiths arriving. So I'm going to 1 for luck, 1 because Bricks is near, where yes they're going to come in, 1 because 3 Sheets said that he was also doing the same. Then I'm going to remove, for reasons I will not particularly divulge,
Clock.
1, 2, 3. So I'm going to roll 2 and take the lowest.
Jeez.
Those are 2 3s. So here's what happens. 3 Sheets you take up like your, station kind of gun at hand, but not pointed at the entrance. I think you said lantern. Kind of, you're apparently there. Bricks, you're stood nearby, kind of maybe leaning up against the edge of the like wall of one of those stalls, kind of like, I can imagine maybe arms crossed and leaning back and just like counting out the seconds. Not an entertaining part of the job. 3 Sheets, you kind of hear a noise, sort of just like a little creak somewhere in the stable, and you kind of turn around and glance just to make sure there's nothing there. There is nothing there. And then as you turn back, it's up to you what your reaction is, but behind Bricks, kind of squatting against the wall, kind of like on top of that stall that he's leaning against, is the exact figure I described before, the woman from the Wraiths with the insect-like mask, with that duster coat kind of draped over the back of the stall as she's kind of squatting there, head tilted to one side, looking at you You can't tell what expression she has underneath, but you get a sense of vague amusement off her. What's your reaction to this? Justin?
I guess try and act as nonchalant as possible. You know, it might be a bit startled, but I'll try and hide it.
You cover it up as quickly as you can. That kind of. Sure. At this, I think at 3 sheets, making some kind of like trying to act nonchalant and cover up any surprise. I think it's safe to say that Echo and Silver will also have noticed the individual sat there. And Bricks, maybe you get the sense that there's something behind you.
Where's everyone looking at me?
It's our friend from earlier.
She kind of reaches down and pats Bricks kind of gently on the shoulder in a very non-threatening way and says, "Hello again, sport."
Evening.
She looks up and gives a startlingly accurate impression of some of the local unpleasant Doskvol crickets that make horrible kind of grinding noises in the night, and 2 other figures dressed almost identically, silently as the grave drop down from the roof above. You can't even hear their feet landing on the floor of the stables, and they look around. Both of these kind of slightly larger than the individual you've already met, but dressed very similarly. The only difference is their masks are slightly different. One of them appears to have a kind of a mask that's almost entirely of some kind of like dark glass, featureless entirely. Kind of you can't see kind of any eyes or mouth or anything like that. And the other one has a mask more akin to the original members that you've met, but this one, rather than those insect-like markings, has sort of swirls and odd concentric designs all over it, and a kind of like 3 like slits over the mouth in kind of like just a direct vertical way. They all look around themselves, and the one with the completely blank mask seems to look with some interest at the table, strides over to it, unless anyone wants to say anything as he's doing so, sits down on a chair and swings 2 black leather boots up on the table and kind of leans back and looks around.
Would you like some of Crowsfoot's finest mushroom wine?
He glances over at you, and in a voice which I'll try and do some kind of effect for, his voice sounds odd, like it's echoing from somewhere, like sort of like a sibilant whisper that's coming out from behind the mask. Evidently part of what maybe people talked about when they said they had kind of inhuman voices. But he says, "No, thank you. Difficult to drink." And sort of flicks one hand over the mask.
Right. Your wonderful mask. I have to say, very impressive and very practical as well in your line of work. I really do like them. Perhaps we should start wearing masks ourselves. Although, I don't know. I feel some of us are fairly distinctive regardless.
As you come to the close of this exchange, the individual who dropped down kind of last and is still stood over near the entranceway with the concentric swirls on his mask, and he speaks in a much more scratchy, almost mechanical voice, and says, "Get on with it. We're not here for a party."
My apologies. Of course, we're here strictly for business. We have a great deal of respect for your organization, and as such, we decided to come to you directly with an offer. I'm sure you know how it goes. Clients come, They ask for some kind of job to be done. In our case this evening, we have been asked to retrieve a certain book that you have in your possession. We understand ourselves that you're looking to get rid of this book, and rather than any kind of unpleasantness, we thought perhaps we should simply come to some kind of arrangement and we'll both achieve what we're looking for.
The individual at the table nods and says, I find it wise to do business with those I know.
As do
This, he points over. Echo, where are you sat or stood or what have you?
I imagine I'm sort of by the table, like close by.
It's like sat at the table. He
Yeah.
indicates Echo with one hand and says, This is Echo. The large gentleman is Bricks. I do not know your gaudily dressed self, nor the grumpy gent over there with the gun.
I assure you, Three Sheets is quite friendly once you get to know him. Myself, I'm Silver, and I completely agree. We do not know you, but times, needs must. We don't know you. We have some knowledge of your organization. We have a great deal of respect for the work that you do. Of course, you've come into the possession of numerous very valuable items. We simply have no time in order to make acquaintances and friends with yourselves. We're just here to do business. But I see this as a great opportunity. We ourselves are in the business normally of moving contraband around the city when it's required. I understand that could be of great use to yourselves. And as you say, we like to do business with people that we know. This is an opportunity for us to get to know you. And in the future, I'm sure there'll be a lot of business that we can do together to great profit for ourselves and for you.
The man at the table nods and says, If we do business here, we will be doing more. You can call me Slate. The prickly individual there is Loop. And I think you've met Bug a couple of times. I won't beat around the bush. We know who you are. We do not know who you represent, and we understand you may want to keep that quiet. But given that we know who you are and what you can offer, we have terms. If you agree to them, we do business. Now and again. If you do not, we will leave, and any further entreaties will be met with increasingly strident denials.
Well, then I suppose the only thing is for us to hear your terms.
First, aid on a planned job we have. 'Tis not immediate, but coming soon. We will require all of you, and it will not be without its dangers. Second, yourself and Echo. Your services when we demand them for a year. You're both good at what you do, and what you do aligns with what we do. I'm sure the others have their skills, talents, not ones we are overly interested in. Third, and I hate to express such base desires, coin from every score you carry out for the next 3 months. in mechanical terms, this would be I'm going to kind of slightly randomly determine how much time passes between scores, and it will be 1 coin from each score for the next turns, not counting this one.
How, just as a slight aside, do I get the impression that the voice modulation is coming from the mask, or do I get the impression?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or whatever's behind the mask. Like, the voice is coming from his face. Yes.
Well, I guess are you saying, like, is it the mask changing the voice, or the voice is?
Oh, I see. You know what? Do you want to make an action roll on that? Because I don't think you can detect. I don't.
Yeah.
Or yeah. Yeah. Sure. Go for it.
I think I would use a tune, even though I have nothing in that.
So you're trying to. That would be very specifically if you're trying to detect there's anything occult or supernatural about what's going on.
The thing that I am worried about is that this man is
himself a demon or something. Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Well, a tune is a perfect thing for that. Then I'll give you great success on that. What are you gaining any particular? I'm not going to offer you a devil's bargain for it. Are you gaining any particular? Are you pushing yourself? I doubt anyone is assisting you without knowing about it.
I'm sort of passively trying to.
Just seeing what happens.
Whether I should be freaking out right now.
Absolutely. So yeah, why don't you go ahead and give me that roll?
I'm going to push myself.
Okay. So does that give you 1 die then?
1 die. Yes.
Rather than the 2 and take the worst.
2 and take the worst.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a 6.
Hey, there you go. Now you think it's something. You're almost sure it's something mechanical. You've heard of these things before. Or something mechanical, or something supernatural, but not in him. If you see what I mean.
Sure. Yeah, it could be that the device.
Like a whisper could achieve some effect like this.
Sure. Okay. I think I trust this guy. But yeah, sorry.
Trust them?
No,
it's me. That's a lot.
I think
we don't trust anyone, each other.
Not even each other.
After he's laid out these terms, I think I will sort of look over at Silver and kind of make meaningful eye contact to indicate that this seems like I'd be up for at least the.
Because obviously one of the primary demands here is on you and Silver,
yeah. I sort of think we should go for it, but I obviously can't do very much with eye contact. But
sure.
Well,
you give the impression, sure.
I might say to Slate, can I please have a moment to discuss with my colleagues? It seems only fair.
Slate looks at you a moment and then kind of sharply wheels his legs off the table, stands up and gives a very slight polite bow and walks off to the corner where Loop is standing, and Bug kind of sort of drops sharply off the side of that stall, and they all kind of retreat and stand quite tightly underneath that opening above.
I'll head over to my group.
My discussion, I guess my thing is, I am happy to do the service. I think the coin is too much. I think we should demand
such echo answer.
Look.
You can, of course, try and negotiate with an action roll or something like that.
Exactly. I think we should push the coin down. Yeah. I've spent too much blood and pain on getting this coin. We're already anyway.
So
starts rapping about coin.
Yeah. Three sheets. Also, maybe clasping Echo on the shoulder goes. 3 months is a long time to be paying a duty. 2, 1, maybe. Also, make sure that the job that we do, all of us together, we're not doing for free. We get a cut. Doesn't have to be an equal share, but we get paid for our work. And the same for you. Any jobs that you do, you might as well get paid for it.
Also, we'd be idiots not to try and negotiate anyway.
We don't want to look like schmucks.
Look, all I can see is the coin
take the first offer.
Escaping from our hands.
Shut up, Echo. Echo's like, I owe money. There's so many people. I can't afford to lose any more money.
If I don't have anything to show for it after all of this.
Okay, we'll go for hopefully no coin or less time paying coin, and cuts of any jobs we do.
Cut of the jobs you're doing. Yeah.
Sure.
Oh well. Did we say cut? Are we saying cuts of the heist you're all doing together, or are you making sure that Echo and Silver get cuts of the jobs through the year?
I think we should
Or
have a
both.
counter to every offer, every condition. So we agree, so the job that we all do together, we get some kind of cut,
Yeah, you all get a cut from that.
and then the jobs that you're going to be doing, the same kind of thing. You get paid a specialist rate because obviously you're specialists, and that
We pay for less money.
we do 2 months or 1 month of
We'll see how this
paying
goes.
coin.
Have to see how the roll goes to see if you manage to get any concessions. So once you're done with this, how are you indicate? What are you saying? What are you doing? How are you indicating to them that you want to kind of propose different terms?
I'll probably head back to the table. I guess we probably went to like the opposite corner and just say to him, Slate, I think we've reached some kind of accord, and we have I think we have a good basis to discuss how we proceed.
He kind of takes a look at he looks at Loop and then strides over to the table, and you know what, he's gonna do a Riker. He's gonna kind of wheel the chair around and kind of sit across it and lean over and says, by all means, speak your desires.
Very well. I think to start with, in principle, we have no major issues with what you're suggesting, and it seems a great basis to do business going forward. We have a couple of requests, a few requests. Firstly, regarding our payment to you on all our scores, I'm sure a man as knowledgeable and well connected as yourself would know we currently are indebted to the grinders. And I think they would look upon it very poorly if we began paying someone else as well for scores we're carrying out when realistically it's them we owe our money to. So I think a period of 3 months would be too long and too risky for ourselves, and potentially even for yourselves, for us to be giving money away on the side. So if we could perhaps reduce that to a month of our scores, we'll try and fit in as many as possible within that time.
I think I don't want to do a roll for each of these. So, but presumably in a similar fashion, you also say, make sure that the job you're all doing, you get a cut from, and that Echo and Silver get some kind of rate for each job they do going forward as well. Was that everything? Was that basically the three things you want to do? Well, here's what we'll do. Okay. So, I have in my head the priority of order of these things, of how much they're willing to give up on these. I'm going to say that they will concede 1 point on a 4 or a 5, 2 points on a 6, and all three if you get a critical of more than 1 6. With that in mind, how are we handling this roll? We do a group action. If we're not doing a group action, Silver is rolling and it's a sway roll, right? Like, I don't want to speak for you, but that's what's happening, right? Because that's a strong effect thing.
And you can only take 2 dice.
If you can only take an extra 2 dice from like assistance or
so a group roll would be, if everyone's going to be participating with at least 1 dice, then that would be more dice going into it by doing a group roll.
I think group actions are almost always more efficient. It's just that the person leading them runs the real risk of gaining a crap ton of stress.
Yeah.
But if Silver can take 4 stress without trauma right now, it might be the best approach.
I'm happy to do the group action. I can take that.
And I'm imagining you all kind of like standing behind, like, and you've all, I think you've all assisted just by talking about it and like putting together the argument as well. So in that case, are we doing any, like, a Silver doing any? I'm assuming the group leader can also push and stuff. I think that is probably fine. I don't know off the top of my head, but let's just have a look under group actions before we do it.
Sway, so I could probably be helping.
It doesn't say. I think the group leader can push if they want.
Can we push or not?
I don't think. I think that's a bit too much. But if that's not the rule and something else is, then sorry. But we'll run with this. I think it makes sense for the group leader to be able to do it.
Sure.
So everyone then can roll sway. If you don't have any points in sway, obviously it's 2 dice and take the lowest. But yeah, shall we give it a go?
Here we go.
I will push in the hope that everybody doesn't fail.
I got a 6.
I got a 6.
I got a 5 and a 1.
The
so
way
that's a
this
1.
works, by the way, we just take the highest result. So even if you guys get if you guys, you two have got 6s, that doesn't mean we're at a critical. That means
I
at the
didn't
moment
get a
we're at
crit.
6.
Yeah, we got a 6.
Silver, tell us you got 2 6s, Silver.
I did not get 2 6s.
Did anyone's high? What did you get, Brick? Sorry.
I got a 5 and a 1, so that's a 1.
Right. Okay. And Silver, you got what's the highest you got?
I think my highest on 4 dice was a 4. So
Okay, but that still means you just take 1 stress. Just
Yeah.
once, in addition to the stress you took from pushing. Okay, so that's a 6. That's the highest. That's 2. They're backing down on 2 or changing it for 2 of the points. And here's the 2 they're changing. And it will be no surprise to you which of them they are changing. I don't think. Slate kind of nods at this and he doesn't look round at Loop or Bug when he says this, but he says, "Of course, we would be happy, and it is only right to offer commission on the job we have planned and on any services that Echo and Silver perform over the next year. These things, it is natural that you would ask for them, and we would have been remiss not to offer it. Perhaps I should have thought to mention that earlier. Clearly that was our intention. The 3 months, I'm afraid it is non-negotiable. But rest assured, with the amount of work you get from us, perhaps you will even come out ahead."
I think Silver will turn to look at the group and see if they're on board from looking at them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I'm mostly just like fixedly staring at the guy with the spiral mask.
Just echoing in Echo's head. Perhaps you'll come out ahead.
Very well. I think that those terms will work for us, and we're very much looking forward to doing more business with you in the future.
Slate nods and gives another one of those polite bows and says, "An accord, then," and reaches out his hand to Silver.
I'll shake his hand.
His grip is... He's got a good grip. It's strong, but it's not forceful, you know? And he turns round as he does so. So, Justin, you were going to say something?
Have we agreed how much this is going to be per job?
No.
Just a cut.
I mean, partly because I don't know what those jobs are yet.
Well,
so
I was just thinking because this. I think that we could a smooth way of doing this would be to give them a coin now because we're about to hand in a job.
He did accept this job.
The current
okay.
No.
Right.
Because this is the agreement. Like, you're not going to pay them for... to them, this isn't a job you're doing. You know what I mean? Because this is how you make it.
Yeah.
So he wheels round. Loop takes a couple of steps forward, reaches inside his coat and withdraws like a very, very nicely looking, thick leather-bound tome, and he kind of like flips it open, and it's clearly like looking in some inside for some like a last minute, just like making sure of something, and he claps it shut. And takes another couple of steps forwards, tosses it onto the table. And as he does so, Bug has already leapt up to the roof from the wall of the stall, and Slate is kind of scrambling extremely quickly and agilely up and out. And Loop just takes a last look at all of you with the kind of dust from the book bursting up from where he's thrown it onto the table, and just says in that scratchy metallic voice, "Don't fuckers!" Wheels round, takes a good run up at the wall, and kind of clambers a little less agilely, but still quite dexterously up and out on the roof. And it is done. And the book is on the table in front of you, and inscribed on the front of it is the notation that it is the logbook of a Leviathan hunting ship called the Storm Palace. So we will wrap up our score there, folks. And I think if the people here don't mind running probably a little bit over, I think we can handle our downtime because a lot of it is fairly quick to go through, right? So I think we can do that. And we won't do a scene about it, but Dalmor comes by the lighthouse, picks up the book, is very glad to do it, and seems to be more than happy. How much of the terms you've agreed do you tell him?
None.
Yeah, I'm not sure we tell him any.
You just say no trace can be made to you. There was no violence, nothing like that. We got it. Here you go. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm hoping that we get a job to steal this thing back at some point.
Sure. Does anyone try and, I mean, I'm assuming someone's going to have a look in the book and see what kind of things are in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone. Yeah.
Actually, one thing I think we would tell Dalmor is that this cost us dearly, and it's going to continue to cost us for some time. Just like, this wasn't
Just
free.
hammer the point home.
Yeah.
Sure.
This is financially expensive.
He definitely expresses that he understands this, and obviously you'll be compensated handsomely, both in immediate reward and in. He says that he's very confident they can take care of your
Issue.
occult issue that you're having, and also that further work may become available from his client. If everything works out all right, obviously. So, in terms of, anyone who looked in the book, and I like to think that all of you looked in the book separately and hid it from each other that you were looking from the book, but it's entirely up to you.
Yes.
It is like there is nothing that seems to be hidden about it. It is the logbook of a ship called the Storm Palace, which seems to be a Leviathan hunter. But not a Leviathan, an Imperial Leviathan hunter, let alone one from Doskvol itself. It is, in fact, a Leviathan hunter belonging to Iruvia, which is a land far to the south of the Empire, where, Iruvian folk are seen around Doskvol. Like, the Empire has a peace treaty with them and everything like that. But interesting that this is the case, and it seems to have logged a lot of log details about fertile Leviathan hunting grounds that are not too far from Doskvol in the grand scheme of things, out in the ink black ocean.
Cool.
It doesn't seem to have anything hidden. It's just that stuff.
Are they grounds
there we
that
go.
we already knew about, or is this
I mean, none of you know anything about Leviathan hunting grounds.
No, but we do, like Bricks and Three Sheets have spent.
Sure.
They sailed together.
You have, haven't you? Yeah. No, you've never sailed in these grounds. You don't have a wide knowledge of all the different places, because only the captains and the Leviathan hunting nobility themselves will have that kind of information. You're just on the ship and you go way top, but none of you sailed near here.
Three Sheets was just constantly out on Black Lotus for 90% of all of the work.
Absolutely. But no, to answer your question, none of you have sailed in the waters it describes.
Cool.
So, yeah, but that's not surprising, because none of you sailed on Iruvian Leviathan hunters. So,
although that's what my other troop character has done.
Oh,
is an Iruvian leech whale from a Leviathan ship.
Well, that could be interesting to
just put it out there.
Bring them in then. So let's talk payoff. So you are paid for this. Well, first off, let's cover rep, actually. Now, this is interesting. Pulling off a successful score against a target. Was it against them? I don't know about that. I don't know about how. I'm gonna judge here. I think it involves rep involves either out and out like direct aggression or interfering with something, or publicly working with a higher tier thing, but you haven't done that yet.
That's true.
So I think you're just going to have standard rep, which will be 2.
Okay.
Coin, on the other hand, 8.
Nice.
8 coin for this. I'm assuming one of that coin is going to the grinders.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Don't want to mess with them now you've started working with them.
Is it still 1 coin or is it 2 coin because we're tier 1?
Oh, sorry,
it
yeah,
was
it's
2.
2 coin because you're tier 2. But that
Sorry,
leaves you with
Pierre, I
6.
can see your face.
That leaves you with 6 coin there to divvy up however you want. And I'm just imagining in my head that's a coin for each of you and 2 coin for the keepers. Can the keepers vault hold that much?
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't worry,
how much-
Echo will spend it otherwise.
How much do the keepers have?
Currently 3.
Okay. Because it goes up to 4 before you need like a vault and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which
So there we go.
is something we could have spent our.
There's the
Upright
there's the
number.
payout for it.
Cool.
How much heat do you get? Nada. None.
Wow.
Smooth and quiet.
Finally.
Nothing. What? You just went and talked to some people? Nothing.
Yep.
All fine. There was a clock ticking to see if the blue cloaks would notice the meeting. You didn't tick it. Nothing happened.
Yes.
So
Heck, that would have been bad.
If
Zero.
they would have shot him anyway.
0 heat.
There's
Do
no
I-
such thing as a bad clock.
So let me roll for entanglements. So what's your wanted level at the moment, please, John?
2.
2. And your heat is 0, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Can't wait for 3 sheets to go to prison. I'm really looking forward to it.
So we've
Like
got
as
that.
our wanted level goes up, I'm like, that's a long time in prison.
After building it up so much, you're just not going to be the one. It's just going to be like tragic Silver goes to prison. And we're all like, why couldn't there have been 3
That'd be
sheets?
tough.
So let's let's go with this. And I'll bring this in if I find an opportune moment in the downtime activities. I'll bring it in there, and if not, we'll just put it a little bit at the end for you to deal with. How about that? So in terms of downtime activities, then, and this might be quite a nice one because we don't think we built up too much stress during that by and large. Let's go through, and it's Justin first. What are you doing with your first downtime activity?
Reducing stress, and I got rid of all of it.
Cool. Already rolled. Already done.
Already rolled. Yep.
Already rolled, already done. So back down to 0. You spend a nice, fruitful couple of days in that opium den in the basement of the Red Lantern.
And I didn't overindulge. It was just perfect.
Perfect. Then there we go. So secondly, let's go to Sam.
I also did some vice indulging. I rolled a 4, which takes me down to 3 stress now. So 3 out of 10.
Not too bad.
So,
What are you buying this time? And are you going to your usual purveyors at Dundridge and Sons, or are you going elsewhere? And what are you buying?
I'm not sure. I think now that Dalmor has actually come to our lair, I think I'd buy not drapes, but like some furniture, like just nicer furniture for our lair. It's not really appropriate for these high-end clients we've got coming now.
Sure.
Something
Did this
a little
trigger
better.
your like house proudness as
Yeah,
he's like
I was
looking at
just,
the drips?
I was
You're like-
really ashamed. Like these, we just got old lighthouse stuff in here. We're meant to be like a professional organization.
We
while
could
do
go for an industrial look, you know. I'm just saying.
We've got
Not sure
fabulous
Silver will be
drapes.
happy with that.
So we'll be extremely unhappy about that.
It's very modern.
So you, sorry, did you say do you go to Dundridge and Sons, and do you get like similar drapes to the ones in your hovel, or?
I think I'd go somewhere that has like proper like chairs, like nicer
Right,
chairs.
yeah.
Maybe a
No
table, like a
drapes.
proper table. Yeah, we've got drapes for
Sure,
now.
but some decent furniture. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, that sounds good. So first downtime activity for Pierre, please.
I also wanted to relieve some of this stress by indulging my vice, but I only rolled a 1. So my
Horrible.
my drug experience, nothing was doing it for me. I just kept.
You
Yeah.
should come to the
Maybe I did
That's
come
my talent.
to your
Yeah,
yeah.
that sounds like you got persuaded to go, and it was not your
She's like, you're
favorite
gonna
kind of
love
like
it.
cultured
love it.
psychedelic experience. Instead, you
Just
spent
appreciate vomiting
6 hours
constantly.
vomiting in the
And
corner.
I'm like holding your hair out. Of your
I'm like,
face.
this is the best. This is the best, isn't it? This is just great.
Amazing stuff.
I like them out there,
Wraiths,
like, oh, it's so good. This is really good.
I'm going to recover.
recover. Sorry. Oh, the healing.
Healing.
That's one thing as well. Actually, something I wanted to mention, you guys, if you help me out a bit with this, because what I haven't been doing is monitoring your harm and how it might impact your rolls. So if we can be a bit more on it with like just double checking with me whether the harm does impact rolls you're making, because we basically never do it. So it's like, what's the point in the harm, if you see what I mean? So just remember that. Remember that. So with recover. I believe you roll your tier, is the roll you make, unless you want to pay. After the roll you pay. So yeah. So go ahead and roll 2 dice for your recovery, please, John.
Okay.
We tier 2.
We tier 1.
Oh, you're tier 1. Sorry, 1 die.
The thing, it says the level of the thing that we're using, but I'm guessing because it's our asset.
The quality, your quality is your tier. We have established this a couple of weeks ago.
Cool. So
you
one,
can improve it though.
Yeah.
Roll a 6.
Oh, nice. Well, that's as good as it gets, pretty much, right? So that is 3 segments to your healing clock.
Okay, that goes. It's more than what I need. So Red Silk successfully manages to tweezer the rest of the splinters out of the back of my head.
Cool. That's all you had, right? Was just the splinters, the level 1 harm, right? Yeah, it's gone. Good as new. Okay, let's start rolling again. Justin, it's you again.
Same thing as Bricks. I did not roll as well. I rolled a 1.
Oof. Well, that is 1 segment, but if you want, you can spend coin. You can spend a coin to bump that up to 2 segments.
Yes, I will do that.
Cool. Maybe you. What is your harm at the moment?
I will finally
bite?
no longer be horribly hungover, and my infected ferret bite will just become a treated ferret bite wound.
Yeah, move down to that level 1 harm, right? Yeah, absolutely. Maybe that coin is. Red Silks did an all right job, but maybe that coin spent is on some unguents and salves to keep the healing going after Red Silk's treatment. Okay, then second one, please, Sam. Just rolling the same people in the same order, apparently.
Well, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to the doctor. I need to recover.
I can't remember you being harmed. What's your harm from?
It's from the goats pulled my arm out of its socket.
Oh yeah, amazing.
I don't even remember this.
This was on the last score. The carriage goats got a bit frisky. Roll a die for us.
I rolled a 1.
That's 1 segment again. You can spend a coin to change it to 2 if you want.
How many segments is this?
4. Your healing clock should be on your sheet next to your harm.
I'm not gonna spend it.
Okay. Red Silks does what they can, but a goat pulled arm is a goat pulled arm. Everyone knows that.
That's the expression.
That is the expression. So Pierre next. Yeah, just the same order twice. It's fine.
Yep. Because I was so that first dose was so unsatisfactory. I'm trying to capture some lightning in a bottle, and I'm taking an exquisite drug experience. Cool. This time I rolled a 5, which is much perfect to 0. So just rode the edge of that wave.
So presumably learning from your experience, you return to the familiar haunts of Traven's smoke shop. Traven welcomes you in with that almost featureless white mask. A lot of featureless masks around these days, you note. And his like tall skeletal cloaked form into the back to a beautiful journey as you recline on soft cushions and imbibe wonderful psychedelic vapors.
And
But
like,
you
I
can
think,
tell that you've done the Black Lotus. You can smell it on you.
yeah, like as I sort of like fade out, I think I'll be like, oh, Traven, that mask, it's so wonderful. Where did you get the mask? And then I'm just like fading out.
As you fade out, you just almost half remember Traven just quite quizzically in a puzzled voice saying, "Mask."
Oh no.
So, Bricks, what is your last downtime activity?
I'm going to work on one of our long-term projects, which is track down info on Dalmore's client, and I'm going to do the usual Bricks thing, which is probably try and find likely people that know stuff and either beat them up or threaten to beat them up.
Beat them up or so is it a skirmish roll that you're making?
Yeah, basically. I'm torn between skirmish and command, but they're the same difference. So
Absolutely. Knock someone else out.
Knock yourself out, classic.
Yeah.
Just headbutt.
Yeah, so go for it with that action roll.
Oh, 2 and a 4.
Okay, so that's 2 segments that you can add. So you do find some people who at least know about Dalmore. How many ticks on the clock in total is that now?
It's hard for me to tell how many there were to begin with because of this thing.
I don't know
7
now,
out
so
of 8.
I need you to track that. So
I think it's at 7 out of 8.
8 probably sounds about right. Yeah, for why? Will it?
Let me just.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep, it was 8 to begin with.
8 to begin with. Okay, give me 1 second. You find yourself some promising little leads from furtive, horrible gambling folk in the back rooms of taverns on the docks. And the name Dalmore definitely seems to crop up quite a few times, and you basically have found yourself on the tail of someone called. Here we go, just massively inventing appropriate names. Surely there is a name generator. Is there not a name generator? Folks, come on.
Whist is a good
there
name.
we go. Of an individual called Whist, who is spoken of with some derision, but apparently at least claims that he knows something about Dalmore.
Cool.
So you just need to find him. And presumably knock his head against the wall as well.
God.
I just wanted to add my rationale for doing this is that I am intrigued that he seems so interested in Leviathan hunting information.
And not the only one, eh?
Yeah,
No.
there was those grey cloaks.
Almost as if I have some kind of meta plot going on.
Yeah.
Is it possible to also spend a rep to try and tick forward the one on the assassin?
Yes, on Steiner. Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah, you can spend a rep for an extra downtime activity. So go ahead. I take it you're rolling hunt, right?
I'm hunting for him.
Yeah. Go for it.
You're really obsessed with that Steiner guy.
He's my nemesis. I rolled a 6 and a 3.
There we go. So that is 3 ticks on the hunting down. What is it actually labeled?
Track down info on Steiner.
Track down info on, not like he's there, but more about him. Yeah.
I think I'm trying to hunt through. Is it 6 shores?
6 towers.
6 towers for places he might either like hideouts or hide places where he's been sitting out with a gun trying to shoot people. I don't know, whatever he does.
Yeah,
places where he's going to be.
He's pulled jobs there because he did one right in front of you, right? So kind of maybe scout out the area where you saw him first, and then try and find similar places. Yeah, sounds good. What's that looking like? Because I don't think we've worked on that one an awful lot, have we? So what's that looking like, John?
That's on 4 out of 8.
Okay, so you think you might have found a couple of. Basically, you looked around that area and you looked for what you found there, and you did find some powder burns. From like maybe his gun is a specialist kind that throws out an odd, sweet-smelling little powder burn near the area where he shot the man in front of you. And you look on a few other rooftops in Six Towers and find a couple of similar ones as well. So maybe you could start to piece together some kind of pattern, or at least work on the knowledge of maybe he uses some odd powder.
Could I collect some residue, perhaps take to some kind of chemist at some point?
Yeah. We can absolutely do that.
Fantastic.
That can be the next step the next time you roll, right?
Thanks.
Yeah. Is anyone else taking any extra downtime activities for coin or rep? That sounds like a no. Okay. In that case, all we have left is the entanglement, which didn't really fit with anything anyone was doing, so we're just going to have to deal with it. It comes to the group's attention very quickly, and it comes to the group's attention because Odgar, the leader of your rovers, that stooped, plump, odd individual, basically one day while walking into the lighthouse, Three Sheets, you find him in quite a frustrated state. He's sort of feeding the odd, weird, scrawny little pet bird he has in a cage through it. And as you walk in, he turns around and says, yes, a little incident, Mr. Three Sheets, a little incident. You know my son, Nicholas, a good boy, hard-working, very hard-working. He got involved in a little brawl in a tavern on the docks through no fault of his own. And I think the other gentleman made some intimations about his parentage, and he's a good boy. He wouldn't want anyone to label me in an unpleasant way. And, well, blades were drawn. The other gentleman, well, he apparently they couldn't count the number of stab wounds, so he left the tavern not under his own devices. The problem is, Master Three Sheets, is that turns out he was a member of.
No!
He was a member of this. Have you heard of the Grey Cloaks?
Oh, we've heard of the Grey Cloaks.
Aye, well, here's the thing. It seems that it's fairly common knowledge on the streets that my lad Nicholas works for us. So it turns out they're not best pleased. Okay, so the actual mechanical effects of this. Basically, you guys have a choice to make. Okay,
I know what the answer to that choice is going to be,
and it's entirely up to you which one you want to take. What you can do is you can lose some face by kind of publicly apologizing for this or whatever. You can make an example of Nicholas.
No.
You have to determine what happens. Or you can face reprisals from the wronged party. Basically doing nothing or being defiant about it.
100%. That's my plan. I mean, obviously the gang can weigh in on this, but I'm proud of Nicholas. Nicholas did a good thing today. And we've burned down the Grey Cloaks hiding before. What are they going to do next? Good. Like, we were already their bad books. There's no such thing as a bad clock. That's three.
I think I'll just say, when you tell me about this story, I'll be like, look, you encouraged that boy to do these sorts of things.
What is it that you think we do here, Echo?
I mean, he's always very polite to you guys, but as far as you're aware, Nicholas needs no encouragement whatsoever to lash out with frightening, terrifying, sudden violence.
Wasn't that how we?
That's why we've got him.
Got him under our wing. Was he was doing some terrible violence on someone, and we went, "You could be
Echo's
useful."
right. You're a bad example. You get stuck in a fight in a bar. You pull your fists. Cowards pull blades.
And smart people pull guns.
Well,
Okay, I guess we'll. Yeah.
I mean, like, you do what you want, but as far as as far as Three Sheets is concerned, good.
that said,
Alright.
insulting someone's parents, not on.
Stabbing them, 30 times and reprisal, fine.
Nope.
But
No.
Odgar,
Don't-
I
is a
really
member
don't know
of
what
the
is going on.
Keepers. Odgar works for the Keepers. They're insulting our organization.
Yeah.
They're insulting our parents.
Exactly.
Look, I don't know when you guys figured that being part of a criminal organization was all smiles and giggles, but
No, all I'm saying is it could influence the amount of coin we get. So, we don't want to be known as the people who kill everyone. We want to be known as the people who have all of the money. Actually, we don't want to be known. We just want to have all of the money.
We don't want to be known as the ones who apologize for everything.
Yeah,
we
okay,
do.
fair enough.
Exactly.
I agree with you. Let's go to
sounds
war.
it sounds like we're settling on not giving a shit about it at all. Okay.
fuck 'em.
John, on the keeper's sheet, can you go to the kind of faction section and can you adjust the grey cloaks to be at -2 on you, please?
Oh no, we were looking to be such good friends with them, after burning down their hideout.
Sure. Yeah.
I love the
Oh, yeah,
idea.
no, I'm
that
loving
this
this,
was,
by the way. This
This
is
was
great.
all caused by like a grey cloak, sort of like vaguely looking in the wrong direction. And this kid just like he's got
Stabs him
infamy.
repeatedly in the face.
Yeah.
Also,
See, I
like-
was expecting, given that it's like a D66, I was expecting to like roll some faction we haven't heard of, and maybe they could come into it. But no, fucking grey cloaks, great
fuck 'em.
great stuff,
Fuck 'em.
great stuff. Fuck them. Yeah. Okay, that's the end of downtime there, folks. If you've got any comments or questions, and yeah, we've run a bit long today, but hopefully that was good fun. I'm really a big fan of doing one score and one downtime per stream. I have to say, guys, I think it really fits well. So if you've got any comments or questions, pop them in the chat, and Steve will pop them up for us. In the meantime, a little bit of the old promo. Links down below: YouTube and Twitch. You're watching on one, check out the other. Go check out our social media, our Discord, which you can just join up and talk to us about all things role-playing and telling tales. Our Patreon, if you want to support us extra, or hey, you can leave us a Twitch subscribe as well if you feel so inclined. We run 3 weekly shows, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, each of them starting at 8 o'clock in the evening, BST. Call of Cthulhu Mondays, Blades in the Dark Tuesdays, and tomorrow, that's Wednesday, is Simba Room. We also have monthly one-shots. The VODs for those are all on our YouTube. They're generally on the first Saturday of every month, but the next one is going to be on the afternoon of September the 11th, and that is going to be Dungeon World, which Pierre is going to be running. So yeah. Comments or questions, Steve? We got anything in there? Anything from Lord Malice? Hey Malice, grinding cricket noises. Matt must be referencing the cicadas here on the US East Coast. Yeah, definitely that kind of thing is what I had in mind. I don't think they are cicadas. I think they're like just horrible little grotty crickets that just still make that like that horrible noise. Doskvol's just
Not a nice
everything
place
is
to be.
horrible. That's what happened. It's not from chat, but I did notice John saying that Silver had laid out a mediocre buffet, which for regular viewers of Simbaroom will know that buffets are a very important thing to the heart of telling tales.
That was in response to the 3.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. If there's nothing else then yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks to Steve for being an excellent stream manager, as usual. And thanks to all my wonderful players. And we'll see you next week for more Blades in the Dark. And tomorrow, join us for Simbaroom. Cool. Take care and stay safe, folks. Bye-bye.